I've spent a lot of time thinking about what my first tattoo would be. Not that I'd ever actually get a tattoo because I'm very afraid of needles, and my mom told me if I ever got a tattoo, she would pull me out of college. But I still think it's still a really fun thing to think about. After much deliberation, I decided that if I were to get a tattoo, it'd be the date March 21st, 2003, in Roman numerals. To understand why this date is so important to me, it's important to understand where and how I grew up. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, which, if you're not familiar with, it's a very, very southern town. Family here is incredibly important. Everybody's very close to their family, and it's basically the whole aesthetic of the town. I was the only child of my two parents, and not having any siblings meant that my parents became my best friends. I had kind of this picture-perfect childhood, almost from a movie. I spent my weekends all the time with my parents. We were always at the park. I was baking with my mom or fishing with my dad, but whatever we did is we spent so much time together. Being young, I didn't understand the concept that not everybody had the childhood I had. I took for granted the fact that this wasn't the reality for so many people like it was for me. I didn't appreciate all the blessings I had in my life until the weeks started to lead up to March 21st, 2002. It was probably November 2002 when things started to change. I noticed that we weren't going out as much on the weekends, and I spent more time alone in my room. The biggest change I saw was in my dad. Me and my dad were incredibly close. He was my best friend. We were exactly alike, so similar, and I know he would do anything for me. But as the weeks went on, he became more distant. He started changing so quickly. He lost his charisma, and I didn't understand why. I saw the person I knew better than anyone else in the world completely change in front of me. I didn't understand it then, but my dad had a malignant tumor in his brain. And on March 21st, 2003, my dad died of cancer. In that moment, I lost everything. And I hate talking about it. And it's not because I'm still incredibly hurt by it, but it's the look that people give me. People always say, "I'm so sorry for your loss," thinking that I'm incredibly broken and can never be the same for it. And I hate it because that's how I felt for so long too. I thought that all of my happiness in my life had run out and I would never be able to be the same person that I once was. I became incredibly distant from all my friends. I wasn't able to talk to people. I couldn't be alone anymore because I was so afraid something would happen to my mom while I was gone and I'd have nobody left. I thought all the happiness in my life had run out, that I was so blessed for that period of my time that it was almost like a meter, that I reached the peak of it, and after that my life would never be able to be good again. But over time I began to heal. A lot of this was due to an organization called The Warm Place. The Warm Place is a place that me and my mom went weekly, and you met in groups with other people who were dealing with loss, and you talked about it. It's here that my mom met Jeff. Jeff quickly invited her to a pool party at his house, which was a little strange because it was the first time they met. My mom was getting very strange vibes from this and said she wasn't going to go. But me being young and didn't understand what flirting was, I threw a tantrum and begged her to go. This Saturday was my mom and Jeff's 10th wedding anniversary, and I like to say that my tantrum is what caused their marriage. After my mom got remarried, we ended up moving from Fort Worth to Southlake, Texas, which was about 45 minutes away. But with all the changes going on in my life, I was not happy about this. I felt like I was being ripped away from the last part I had of my dad. The house we grew up in, all the memories, they were gone. I was incredibly upset, but my stepdad encouraged me to get involved with things in our new town, and I began to find what I was passionate about. I got involved in theater and writing organizations, and I started to develop an identity that wasn't just about my family anymore. I could become my own person. I began to become happy. I didn't feel like I was so alone anymore. I had people around me and an incredible family, and I realized that even though it wasn't the family that I was born with and the family I had when I was younger, it was a family that I'm so lucky to have. I think many times it takes great loss to understand how important your life is and to not take things for granted. After I lost my dad, I made a decision to stop ignoring the small blessings in my life. At a young age, I realized how detrimental it is forgetting the important small details in your life. My biggest regret is that I can't remember a lot of things about my dad. I forgot all the small details we shared. Now, I refuse to overlook the small things, whether it be a hug from my mom or inside jokes I share with my friends. Because I realize in 50 years, those are the things I'm going to want to look back on and remember. It's so easy to remember the big events that change you, but you do forget those small things. And a lot of the times, I feel like we don't remember those. As much as it was so hard losing my dad, I gained perspective. I think a tattoo's permanency should reflect something that permanently reflects you. And for me, March 21st, 2003 was the date my life completely changed. I lost my best friend, the person who was the most important to me in the world and who shaped me to the person I was, but I also gained perspective. I learned to cherish every moment that life gives me because you have no idea what the future is going to hold. When people ask me what's one thing I remember about my dad, one memory comes to mind. We were in the living room, sitting on the couch watching a movie. We had an entire family-sized bag of Cheeto Puffs and we were eating the whole thing. And that may sound very trivial to some people, wondering why that's the first memory that comes up with me and my dad. But to me, that's why it's so important. It's the small memories I shared with him that are most important to me. And those are the things that I'm so lucky to still be able to remember.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. It's like hard to talk about, so it's like hard to get a speech on.
Then why'd you choose it?
Because I think like if I was gonna give a narrative speech, I should do something that actually impacted me, and I wouldn't feel right giving a speech about anything else. So.
Well, it's very interesting. Do you know what you're doing with your eyes?
Yeah, like I just like it was really hard to I would get emotional. So I know.
You picked the topic.
I know.
You got to look at them.
Yeah.
It was interesting. The longer it went, the worse it got.
Yeah.
But you know what it is.
Yeah.
So it's something to work on because at first you were pretty much dead on it.
Yeah.
You were right with us, and I thought that's really good. So I know you can do it. Also, do you know what you were doing with the cards sometimes?
It's like.
Well, holding them with both hands.
Oh.
They're not that heavy. Hold them with one hand, that's fine. But not both. The body's put together pretty good. Introduction's pretty good. The conclusion needs a little work because when you get into the conclusion, you do start adding some new information. Like the best memory you had.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been part of the body, and then you just summarize it when you get to the end. Didn't hear much of a summary, a little bit of a summary. And the end note, it's okay. It's not the twist. Think of, what's really something memorable that would stick with us when we walk out of here. There's a lot there. But, I'm glad your mom's happy. Your dad would be really proud of you. So, you did a good job. Let me have your cards. All right. Harry. I'm looking forward to this one.
That's fun.
There's no telling what we're going to have here. All right, Harry. Well, what'd you do this weekend, Harry?
Well, I was thinking about my next speech.
All weekend. Every minute of every day.
Because I couldn't come up with it.
You couldn't come up with anything.
No.
Did you come up with something?
I had a grandmother that I really lived with her. So
Yeah?
I probably not going to talk about it.
So you're going to talk about that?
No.
No. Okay. So, do you have something else you're going to talk about?
I talked about dreams.
Dreaming?
Dreaming.
So you're going to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to talk about dreaming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, we've had goats and everything else, so why not dream?